Hey, they actually have draft beer here. Draft beer on the train? And welcome to today's video from Ostrava, where I'm letting the Pendolino take me. In Ostrava, I plan to stay at the Mercure Hotel and we'll also go out for a hamburger together. To have a comparison with the Pendolino, I chose the Eurocity Silesia train for the return trip. We'll see which is faster, which is cheaper, which is more expensive, and which is better. And if possible, we'll try out the dining cars on both trains. My Pendolino will be here in about 10 minutes, but in the meantime, a Slovak Railways train has arrived. And I'm thinking it wouldn't be a bad idea to test out Slovak Railways sometime in the future. The Super City Pendolino is already here, and it's arriving right on time. Now I should find car number 2, so I'm completely in the wrong place. 6-5, I'd better hurry up. This is car 4, 3, and 2 is a bit further down. And here I am. When I booked, I chose seat number 15. Let's go. Actually, no, it's seat 12, and there's a good reason for that. It's a single seat like this. But given how empty it is, I think I can sit wherever I want. The attendants here are serving food, and a lot of it looks like almost every other passenger in front of me has some kind of meal. And I think the dining car is either over there or over there. For today's trip, I chose a seat in first class and was very pleasantly surprised by the welcome drink. This is one of those journeys where taking the train actually makes sense, even compared to driving. While by car, it would take me about 3 hours to get from Pardubis to Ostrava. The Pendolino can do it in just over 2 hours. I've just been given some water. The staff here are incredibly nice. The lady offered me coffee, tea, or said I could order food if I wanted. I declined, because I want to take you to the dining car. The closer I get, the better it smells. I'm here now, and I see that rather than a dining car, it's more like a bistro car. So, if you wanted to eat here, you'd have to do it standing up. We'll see what the EC train is like on the way back. I'm not really a fan of this. I thought it would be those classic little tables where you can sit down and have a meal. Given this, I admit it's probably better to have your food brought to your seat. A pleasant surprise is that they actually have a lever espresso machine here. That's great. And here's the price list. Espresso is 50, Americano 60, Cappuccino 60. I recently took the TGV with Rameshi to Paris, and let me tell you, this is better. The space here is designed similarly to the Eurostar train from Paris to London. If you haven't seen my video of traveling from Paris to London, check it out. But I have to say, the selection here is much better. Look, here they even have regular sausages, but they look like horseradish. I'll admit something. I deliberately made myself hungry before the trip, you know. Great. They serve city breakfast here for 150 crowns. Ham, cheese, butter, fresh cheese, and so on. Breakfast for the lower classes. These are the 3 Swiss sausages. That's also for 150 crowns. I can order an omelette here. Beef broth with vegetables for 75 crowns. Fried Schnitzel for 200 crowns. Sirloin with cranberries for 200 crowns. Pen for 200 crowns. And veal roast with colorful pepper salad and vegetables. I've had that here before, also for 209 crowns. And it's luxurious. It really is luxurious. I have to say, for being on a train, the selection is really solid, very solid. And when I saw it there, I noticed that people really take advantage of it here. There's quite a lot of stuff, look toasties, baked goods, tortilla. It's a full-fledged restaurant thing. I've already ordered my food. I'm heading back to my seat. On the way, let's check out the restroom. Well, it's just your typical train restroom. Nothing special, nothing terrible. Let's move on. Before they bring me lunch, let's talk a bit about the train. And let's start with the price. I paid just under 800 crowns for a first-class ticket, and that includes a 100 crown surcharge for a seat reservation. You can get an automatic seat reservation, which is included in the price, or you can choose your seat for an extra 100 crowns. And I preferred not to have a double seat, so I wouldn't disturb anyone, even if someone sat next to me. And I wanted a seat like this, a single seat by the window. And that cost me 100 crowns. If you decide to go for second class, it's a bit cheaper. There, the ticket costs 500 crowns. Of course, that's without any loyalty cards or similar things. I have to admit, I'm not really familiar with those. But typically, if you just take the train once in a blue moon, you'll pay 500 crowns for second class from Prague to Ostrava. Not only do they have espresso here, not only was it quick, not only did I just get schnitzel with potato salad, but they actually have draft beer here too. Draft beer on the train. I like it when the world is black and white, like cars are good, public transport is bad, or the other way around. But while sometimes experiences with public transport are dismal, this is actually pretty good service. So let's dig in. I know they don't make it here, that it won't be a freshly fried schnitzel, but we'll see. I think I've already tried schnitzel on board Czech Railways before, and it wasn't bad at all, so it's not bad. In a restaurant, you'll probably get a slightly better schnitzel. And in a really good restaurant, you'll get a much better one. But honestly, you wouldn't say they just pulled it out of a microwave or something. And the potato salad is excellent. The portion was so big, I almost couldn't finish it. Look, what I really appreciate are the real cutlery, real plates, and a real beer glass. Or, well, this is a small beer, so it's not a pint, but it's still glass, right? Cheers. There's Wi-Fi on board. I don't know if it makes sense to measure it, because I assume it'll work differently on each part of the route. Here we're getting 26 down and 10 up, which is pretty interesting. To get to their Wi-Fi, you have to watch a 30-second ad. At least that's how it was for me. I find that pretty crazy, honestly. And do you know why the pendolino is called pendolino? It's derived from the Italian word pendolino, which means pendulum or little pendulum. And it's a reference to the train's design, where the entire cabin, or more accurately, the car body tilts, allowing the train to go through curves much faster. The Pendolino, specifically this 680 electric unit, was produced between 2003 and 2005. Many of us in our 40s and older think, yeah, that was last year, maybe the year before. No, that's already 3 years ago. People, 2005, that's a year, that was 20 years ago. And it's one more thing. Anyone born in 2007, which is 2 years after the Pendolino was put into service, can now order a beer in a restaurant and buy cigarettes at a tobacco shop. These people are 18 and they're younger than the Pendolino. I'm just saying that this train set, which most Czechs, including myself, still consider something special, has actually been with us for a really long time. If I'm not mistaken, the Pendolino runs at about 160 kilometers per hour on regular tracks, at most. But do you know what the Pendolino speed record is? In South Moravia, the Pendolino reached a speed of 237 kilometers per hour. I'd just like to add here that the TGV broke the magical 400 kilometers per hour barrier back in the late 80s. Embarrassing. Let's head back to the bistro car. I'm in the mood for something sweet. So what kind of desserts do they have here? Let's see, pancake with triple chocolate filling and whipped cream, strudel, tradelnik, cheesecake, coffee, a wafer on the side, and a pancake with whipped cream. I asked how it's possible that the schnitzel tastes so amazing, and they explained to me that they use some special ovens for finishing, which is why the breadcrumb coating was so beautifully crispy. I've already paid for everything too. Chicken schnitzel, a pilsner, the sweet menu, which means coffee and dessert all together for not even 400 crowns. I might just start eating on trains, seriously. So, how does the pancake taste? It arrived pretty quickly here. If this shot looks weird to you, it's because I broke the rule of editing and crossed the line of filming. The pancake is excellent, and now I'll explain to you why this is so strange. Right now, I have the camera to my left, and now I've put it to my right, and that's something you really should see. The whipped cream is really just whipped cream. And now I've put the camera back to the other side, and you don't know where's right, where's left, what's behind or what's in front. What kind of coffee do they have here? But it's actually pretty good. Just so you understand me correctly, none of the things here are truly excellent, but considering we're on a train, it's good. It's really good. You can pay by card here, and you can keep a tab open for the duration of the ride. That means you don't have to pay for everything separately. Otherwise, the Pendolino can hold more than 300 passengers. And did you know that this train appeared in the Bond movie Casino Royale, which I actually like because it was filmed in Karlovy Vary, at Lake Como, in Prague, in Venice, and also in Loket. Now, I am about to settle down and watch the highly acclaimed television series Better Call Saul. The train, unfortunately, is currently running approximately 5 minutes behind schedule, which consequently means that our journey to the city of Ostrava will now extend for about another hour. That's just enough time for one episode of Saul Goodman. It looks like we're arriving in Ostrava with a short 10-minute delay. That's fine. I'll be getting off in a moment. I really don't mind this kind of public transport at all. I needed to get from the center of Pardubis to the center of Ostrava, and I went from the center of Pardubis to the center of Ostrava. The trip was shorter than by car. I had plenty of leg room. I got good food, and yeah, it was comfortable. But unfortunately, with public transport, that's not usually the rule, it's only the exception. The moment you travel somewhere other than along that main Prague-Ostrava corridor, it's usually not such a smooth ride anymore. Not to mention, I was actually traveling on the very best train that runs on Czech track. Now Sergey has arrived for me, and we're heading to the hotel. And here we are, Mercure Hotel in the center of Ostrava. This is where I'll be sleeping tonight. Usually I don't film hotels like Mercure, Novotel, or Ibis very often, but here in Ostrava, there aren't many more interesting hotels. Sure, there's the Imperial, for example, but we've already filmed there. On the other hand, my family and I actually visit Mercure and Novotel hotels quite often when we travel. So why not do a review this time of the 4-star Mercure hotel from the Accor chain, which offers more or less the same standard all across Europe. In my opinion, Mercure hotels usually provide a decent standard for a reasonable price. We'll see how this one in Ostrava turns out. In any case, I can say that the building of this hotel is impressive, as are the interior and the area in front of the reception. I've just checked in and I'm looking at this sign here. Today, the bar is closed, as is the restaurant, but room service is available free of charge. The hotel is located in a building that used to house an insurance company, including staff apartments. So the rooms are former staff apartments. Our room is on the 4th floor. It's room number 401, and it's a privileged category room which gives us access to the privileged lounge. A kind of privileged executive lounge. Let's go take a look. Here it is. So what does our room look like? Well, just like in the original and beautiful photos, it truly is quite stunning. To be honest, I don't really like the design of the room. I already looked at the photos and thought to myself, it looks like Grandma's place. I could have chosen a standard room. I could have picked a room with a double bed or a slightly more expensive suite, but I chose this room for one reason. This is actually a room where you have two fairly large single beds, which, when you push them together, make a bigger bed than if you ordered a double. Plus, there's a pull-out sofa here. And that's exactly the type of room layout that perfectly suits our family of 4. So I thought, since a lot of parents with 2 kids are probably watching me, they might be interested in what this kind of layout looks like in Mercure hotels, because it's more or less the same everywhere. And that includes, for example, this pull-out sofa here, which, if you specify that more of you are coming, they'll prepare for you, so you can just open it up like this, and there are already sheets, blankets, and everything inside, pillows. So, as I said, it's an ideal setup. What do we have here? I see a capsule coffee machine. Here, I assume, is the minibar, which is included in the price zone of the perks of the privileged rooms. There's a Radegast 10-degree beer here. Wow. Pepsi, juice, what's no other alcohol here. A work desk, a clean work desk. I really like that. And friends, here's another one. Though this one isn't as clean. There are a few things here, but 2 work desks. Isn't that amazing? As soon as I turned on the lights, it didn't look so uninviting here anymore, even though it's still not really my style. But, well, yeah. What about the bathroom? Is there a shower here? It could be pretty big. No, it's not. It's not. It's actually pretty narrow. It's long, but I'd say it's quite narrow. I was expecting there to be another room, a bathtub. Unfortunately, there isn't. There's a heater here that works, and then, of course, the toilet. As usual, not separated from the rest of the bathroom. While there's still daylight, let's take a look at how well this room can be darkened. I've drawn all the curtains, and I have to give them credit for one thing. This is actually better here than at the Four Seasons. Click, and all the lamps and lights turned off. The curtains are blackout, the darkening isn't completely perfect, but for a 4-star, I'd say it's pretty good. Over there, maybe it could use a bit more though. And now, another click, and everything lights up beautifully again. And there are a lot of light sources here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a 5th and a 6th over there. This beautiful big lamp, that's the 7th. 8 light sources, and all on one switch. And you can actually adjust the mood too. Brilliant. That's how it should be. I wanted to cheer that I have a balcony. It kind of reminds me of the balcony at the Pie Clown on Wenceslas Square. But then I grabbed the handle and thought, let me out on the balcony. No, unfortunately not. Lately, I've been really into lounges, so let's check out what the local privilege lounge has to offer. We're on the 3rd floor, and it looks like we found it. There we go. It's nice here. But is it really? If you book a standard room and then change your mind and want to pay extra for access to this lounge, it'll cost you 850 crowns per night. And in my opinion, that's not really worth it. Unlike, for example, the executive lounge at the Hilton, here you have access 24 hours a day. But on the other hand, unlike the Hilton, they don't have any happy hours here. And I was told that alcohol is only available until 9 in the evening, probably so that people don't throw parties here. However, I don't see any alcohol except for Bernard beer. So that's the only alcoholic beverage here. That's a bit disappointing because, for example, at the Hilton, Marriott, or King's Court on Republic Square, they offer wine, gin, whiskey, and other alcohol, including hard liquor during certain hours. And here I really don't see anything unless I'm just blind. If you do see a bottle of Jaeger or something here, let me know in the comments. Honestly, paying 800 or 900 for this, I have to say I'm a bit annoyed. Let's take a look at the fridge. What's in there? Yogurts, ham and cheese sandwiches. Here's ham, cheese separately, some fruit, milk drinks, teas, a coffee machine like the one I have in my room. Here's water, more water over here. And then the mentioned beer, cola, and sodas. For example, I don't see anything like matonka or any other soda or mineral water here at all. Now I just noticed this little corner over here. Here are some cereals and over here some cakes, pastries. That one on top is probably a frigale, right? So that's everything. I'm still looking for a fridge, maybe with some gin. No, there are just napkins and teas here. What's here? Nothing here. No, really not. The interior is nice, but it's as dry as a bone here. Yeah, it is. Now we're on the ground floor, at the level of the parking lot and below the reception. And here you'll find the wellness area and the gym. And what's in the gym? So there's a rowing machine, a treadmill, and exercise bikes. Behind me, there's a multi-gym station. That's this one, if I'm not mistaken. Then there are weight benches and dumbbells, lots of dumbbells. 25 kilos, 20 kilos, 10, 5, 2.5 kilos. I see there's another gym over here. They have it separated. I don't know why. Yeah, they've got this, and it looks like a heavy basketball. A medicine ball, right? And more dumbbells. And the same lamp as I have in my room. And over here are exercise mats. There should also be a sauna available here. Yeah, it's a no swimsuit sauna, the sauna zone. And you need to let them know, the lady said, an hour or two in advance so they can heat it up. And plus, there's this kind of relaxation room here. From the gym and sauna lounge, I'm back in my room. How about we do a little room inspection now? I'm mainly curious to see how the sofa will turn out. First of all, I haven't seen a safe anywhere here yet. And here it is. It looks sturdy, built in. Yeah, it's actually really big. Before I start running around with the flashlight and UV light, I'll refresh myself with some monastery calica. All right, matonka is better. How about the Wi-Fi? For members, they have high-speed Wi-Fi here, and for non-members, standard. About that membership, and I might be repeating myself a bit. With all hotel chains, if you sign up for their program, you immediately get benefits. Lower prices, like here, for example, faster internet, and so on. There's no reason not to register. So I'm registered, collecting points, and our Wi-Fi is running at a pretty decent 66 by 75 megabits. Of course, these loyalty programs aren't just for Accor, but also for Marriott, Hilton, and others. As for Accor Hotels, it's actually the largest European hotel chain, headquartered in France. They have around 500,000 rooms worldwide. And when it comes to controversies surrounding Accor, they're most often criticized for not pulling out of Russia 3 years ago. And unfortunately, I think they're still operating there. Brands under Accor include the 3-star Ibis, the slightly better Ibis styles, the slightly lower-end Ibis budget, and the 4-star Novotel. In the same category, there are also Mercure hotels, or for example, the luxury Fairmont hotels. One of them is about to open in Prague, replacing the former Intercontinental. And when I go to Paris, I definitely want to try the Adagio Apart Hotel. And I almost forgot about Formula One and its hotels, maybe more like hostels with rooms without private bathrooms, thanks to which I was able to travel almost all of France as a student. And as for the mattress, it's 18 centimeters thick. Now it's time for the UV light. There are these small throws here. Thanks to that, I noticed that there are also bathrobes and slippers here. The throws look clean, I'd almost say freshly washed. But what interested me much more was this sofa. First, I'll turn off the light in the bathroom and let's get to it. The backrest looks clean so far. This part looks good. And what about the seat cushion? Usually, the problem is with the seat cushion. So I'm shining the light directly on it like this. Look, I don't see anything there. No, that looks good. The remote control looks clean, and the television looks dark. I think there are only channels here. That's right. And apparently some series is playing. How about the view? The receptionist said I have a quiet room, which made me a bit nervous, because that usually means you don't have a street view. And yes, here we have a view of the parking lot, and over there, the Ostrava landmark. So far, we haven't found any bed bugs in any of the hotels. So, will that change today here in Ostrava? It looks like it won't. I have to praise this headboard, Devon, the kind where there aren't many gaps where those critters could hide. So, I would say that everything is quite good here. Yeah. What truly made me happy? It's these things right here. Toothbrush with toothpaste, and here a disposable razor with cream or gel. It's a wonderful thing if you forget something like that. But I'm so unlucky that every time I forget my toothbrush, these things just aren't available at the hotel. It's slowly getting dark outside, and Ostrava will soon be shrouded in darkness. So it's time to leave the warmth and comfort of the hotel and head outside. There's clearly a party going on in the restaurant. And what's it like outside, I wonder? It's raining here. No, I wanted to walk the streets of Ostrava, and now it's raining. Really? It's about 600 meters to Mama's Burger from here. First of all, I'm not made of sugar. And second, it would feel silly to call an Uber, Bolt, or a taxi for such a short distance. Looks like I've arrived. Mama's hot dog and burgers. Hey, look, there's Pohlreich. Second best burger. And it's pretty packed in there. I hope I can get a seat. I don't have a reservation, so I got a seat and the menu right away. After everything I've read about this place, I thought I'm not sure why that it would be bigger. And for those of you hearing about Mama's Burger for the first time, I'll explain in a moment why this place is so interesting. In 2017, Pohlreich filmed his show Yes Chef here, and to the Cognac brothers, who founded and run this place, Pohlreich gave 3 stars back then. And it was right here in Ostrava, at this very location. Pohlreich was absolutely blown away by the burgers here at the time. So let's take a look at what they have to offer here. Now we are at the drinks section, so here. For 255 crowns, you get the Mama's original burger. For 300 crowns, there's a veggie burger with vegan meat and aged cheddar. For 85 crowns, they have homemade fries here, and coleslaw for 75. They should also have yes. Here it's for 200 crowns, the Mama's hot dog, pork sausage with cheddar, Claudi's tomato salsa, and so on. For now, I've ordered a Coke, and as for the food, I let them recommend something. I've already got my food here. Hot dog, hamburger, fries, and honey mustard mayo. I'm wondering if maybe I went a bit overboard with the order, but I assume that if I can't finish it, they'll just pack everything up for me to take away. The hamburger I ordered is called the SOP. It costs 269 crowns. Fries are not included in the price. And let's take a look at what's inside. So, of course, there's the bun, obviously ground beef, but there are also gratine Olomouc cheese curds. There should be chorizo and gratine onions. Yeah, even now, it seems to me that there are more than enough ingredients in there. Fresh chili peppers, homemade tartar sauce, and ketchup. I always wonder how to eat these kinds of burgers. How many centimeters is this? And how wide can a person open their mouth? Like, I guess I'll just squeeze it like this. There's a lot of flavor in there. Given that there are masters of their craft here who were even praised by Zdeněk Pohlreich, I didn't say things like, do it like this. Very well done. Or make it more like this. I just left it up to them. Look, the meat is pink in the middle. And I'm surprised that the Olomouc cheese isn't the dominant flavor there. You can taste the chili peppers a little, just a hint. There's a slight spiciness, and there's also a bit of sweetness. Whether that's from the tartar sauce or the onions, you can definitely taste it. When I read everything that's in this burger, I thought, there's no way this could work. So many flavors. But it actually works. But back to the story of this bistro. Filming here in 2017 wasn't the end for Zdeněk Pohlreich. In fact, it was quite the opposite. He came back here with a camera again, but that's not the main thing. Zdeněk Pohlreich started a joint business with the Cognac brothers. In 2023, the operators of this bistro, together with Pohlreich, decided to run a franchise network of similar restaurants called Mama's Burger. Let's go. Let's try their homemade fries with that honey mustard mayo. Let's try the fries without the mayo. They're salted just right, well made, excellent. How about the delicious and creamy mayonnaise? I'm thinking whether I can taste the mustard and the honey in there, but the fries are excellent. The mayo is good too, but not as good as the burger or the fries. And then there's this hot dog, and I have absolutely no idea, really no idea how I'm supposed to eat it. It's like, just imagine the shape of an open mouth and look at the shape of that hot dog. Yeah, it just doesn't match up at all. So let's start with the tip. It looks kind of ridiculous, doesn't it? The sausage itself is excellent, slightly spicy, very meaty, but I'm curious how it tastes as a whole. I'm trying to figure out how to find that out, the only way. Sorry about this, but there's no other way. There's a flavor in there that doesn't quite sit right with me. I asked what's in it, and apparently there's curry sauce. I think it's exactly that curry sauce that doesn't really work for me. Down here, there's caramelized onion. For me, it would probably be just a little bit better without the curry sauce, but who am I to give advice, right? It's good, but without the curry sauce, it would be much better. So if you come here, just say you want this hot dog, but without the curry sauce. If I'm not mistaken, in 2024, the first branch outside of Ostrava was opened, and that's the Mama's Burger branch in Olomouc. I think they also have a branch in BRNO, and they want to open one in Prague. And what I didn't know at all is that apparently they offer delivery in Prague. That means if I have the right information, you can't go out for a burger in Prague, but you can have it delivered. The story of the Kaniak brothers is a bit like the American dream. They started out with a food truck, traveling to various events, fairs, festivals, and so on. Then they decided to open this bistro. And after that, Pohlreich got involved. And these guys, who used to make burgers here in a caravan or camper van or whatever it was, basically in a food truck, suddenly they became business partners with Pohlreich, a legend of Czech gastronomy. Honestly, I'm a bit surprised that Pohlreich actually went into the burger business, if you've ever been to his Cafe Imperial or next door. Well, for those of you who have, it's probably just as surprising for you as it was for me. But yeah, and the burgers, or rather, no, that burger I had, that one is absolutely excellent. The hot dog too, the fries are great. I finished the whole hot dog, but I had half the burger and most of the fries packed to go. And how much am I paying here? Burger, 269. Hot dog, 209. Fries, 85. Honey mayo, 39. Coca-Cola, 49, and the box, 9 crowns. Altogether, 660 crowns for such a heap of food. For 2 people, you could say, right? So, what do you think? Is it still raining? There's one more place I'd like to see here in Ostrava. It's raining. Since my next destination is about an hour's walk away, I ordered a car and an Octavia came to pick me up. A second generation Octavia, but after the facelift. We're in Vitkovice, and this is the Mir Theater. If you've seen the series Skoro na Mizinie, then you definitely know it. And for the rest of you, I'll tell you that the director of this theater is Albert Chuba, and the artistic director is none other than Stepan Kozub. The building where the Mir Theater is located was built in the 1930s and used to be a Sokol cinema. What's interesting is that during World War II, the theater building was hit by a bomb, but it didn't explode. So only the roof and part of the auditorium were demolished. I see there's a lively buzz here in the cafe and the bar. So let's go ask around. I've ordered a glass of Prosecco here. And now, as a little segue, let's go back to the Mercure Hotel, because the architects who worked on the construction of this building also participated in building what is now the Mercure Hotel. During the previous regime, the Mir Theater operated here, and it remained open until 1992. After that, there was apparently some kind of gym here, and in 2008, the then Vietnamese owners of this building considered turning the Mir Cinema, the Mir Theater, into a shop selling typical Asian goods. I haven't had that much to drink to be confusing a theater with a cinema, have I? And then we have the year 2016, when Albert Chuba arrives, and that's how the modern history of the primarily dramatic Mir Theatre begins. Today is the 27th of February, and right now they're performing The Birthday. I'm already outside in the rain. They have a fan shop here with merchandise, and I just saw this guy a moment ago running past me, and then you could hear him speaking on stage. Well, it's still raining. So I guess it's back to the hotel by car again. Well, that's how it is. And now we're heading through Ostrava towards the hotel. I'm back at the hotel and I can't find my room card. That's funny. This happens to me about 3 times a year. No, I really don't have it. Well, let's go to the reception then. Once, at the terrible hotel in Nuzle, they charged me 200 crowns for losing my card. Here at Mercure, you can lose your card for free. That's nice. The man at the reception was really kind to me. I apologized, I felt bad for losing the card, and he just said it was fine and gave me a new one. So I really appreciate that. Now, someone will find the card from this hotel and have a souvenir. And you know what we haven't looked at yet? The prices. The prices per night here in this hotel. I just sat down at the computer and I have to say, I praised their internet too soon. I left the upload of files from yesterday's shoot running here, and it froze at 15%. And it looked so promising. What a shame. The hotel has a rating of 8.6 out of 10 on booking.com. It's not a particularly expensive hotel, but it's not exactly cheap either. So prices for 2 people, and we entered the dates Monday to Tuesday, the 10th of March to 11th. So a standard room without breakfast is 2,800 crowns. If we look at the privileged rooms, we have to go a bit further. Here I see a privileged superior room with 1 double bed and a sofa. That one is 4,000 crowns, including the option to cancel, but still without breakfast. And a privileged room with 1 double bed and a sofa, including breakfast for 2 people, is 4,400 crowns. And if we wanted to treat ourselves to something better, I also found a suite here. Yes, the most expensive one here is 5,700. Privileged suite with a double bed and a sofa. 2 adults, free cancellation, breakfast included, 5,709 crowns. So those are the prices here at Hotel Mercure in Ostrava. I'll also add that the prices on Booking and on their own website are exactly the same. And if you sign up for their partner program, they drop by 10%. You know what surprised me? That you don't have to sign up for their program under your real name. Of course, you'll show your ID later. But when you're making a reservation through the app, you can just as easily be Mickey Mouse. Do you think they were really expecting Mickey Mouse to show up here? What's in store for us tomorrow? Naturally, breakfast, and then a trip on a Eurocity type train to Pardubice, where my car is. After that, I have a trip from Pardubice back home to Carlo Viveri ahead of me. I'm going to bed in a little while. Tomorrow morning, I'll tell you how well soundproofed it is here, what the water pressure in the shower is like, how I slept, and I'll ask you to subscribe here on YouTube. And please follow me on Instagram too, because I always post updates there in advance about what you'll see on YouTube. For now, good night, friends. Good morning, friends. I slept pretty well, but to be honest, I slept a bit better recently at the Marriott, Hilton, or even at the Julius Hotel, but let's be fair. The hotels I mentioned are 5-star, whereas this one is a 4-star hotel. But I wanted to demonstrate how important mattress thickness is for sleep quality. The soundproofing was fine from the street, the hallway, and neighboring rooms. I didn't hear a thing. The water pressure in the shower could be a little better. But what's nice is that you can connect any of your own devices to the television via HDMI. My train leaves in about 2 hours, and I'm really looking forward to the trip, mainly to compare a regular EC train with a Pendolino. But now breakfast is waiting for us downstairs. Breakfast is served in the restaurant where there was a private event yesterday. We'll walk past the bar here. I have to say it's quite a nice bar. It's a shame it wasn't open to the public yesterday. I like this, I really do like it. And now, let's go have breakfast. It says here, pancakes, crepes, and fruit sauce. And what will we find in this one here? Here? Probably nothing here. Yeah? All right, great. Let's skip ahead a bit and check out the sweet corner, or rather the pastry corner. Crumb cake, why not? The apple strudel looks beautiful. In that filling, a baked raisin swirl, these little donuts here. This These pastries, Evan, though, I really love sweets never. Really excited me. They always seem kind of plasticky to me. Croissants, the last macaron, and that's a fregal, right? Or some kind of pie like that. I see there's quark, and also another filling, apple. Across from the fragal, the savory pastry, and I would have expected a slightly better selection here. Rice cakes, rolls, dark rolls. And Czech bread, yeah, here are some baguettes. I'll tilt the camera down a bit. And here's a regular baguette, whole grain baguette. And here's toast bread. I mean, when I have breakfast at home, of course, I don't have such a big selection, but when I have breakfast at a hotel, the selection of bread is usually a bit bigger. Now, let's move on to this fridge. Here we have various kinds of milk, kefir milk, soy, goat, fruit kefir, lactose-free milk. And below that, liver pate. Here we have ham mousse and egg spread. Let's forgive them for the bread. Plain yogurt, fruit yogurt, then some cheeses here, president butter, and then some other kind of butter. Nice fridge. And this, well, that's a work of art, my friends. These little salamis and hams, I always like that. And it almost feels like a shame to eat it. And I always think, when someone puts in all that effort, wow. And then people just grab it with those little tongs, and in a few minutes, all that arranging goes to waste. Pickled onions, hot peppers. Here we have some fish, blue cheese, and then it continues over here. Cheeses, they're beautifully decorated too. And here I see emmental. Here I see some camembert or hermelin. But yeah, so far it looks like a very decent and rich breakfast. Muesli bar, then here a honey dispenser, or this thing here, which looks like maple syrup, but it actually says it's just a topping with maple syrup. Honey, more jams, cookies, chocolate-covered pretzels. And here, for example, is a pasta salad. All right, that looks pretty nice too, definitely. Fruit, lots of fruit. Here we have fruit salad, grapes. Here I see some vegetables, and if I just move the camera a bit more, this will be cottage cheese. I'm quite curious about the coffee here and also about the juices. Next to the juice, I see mattoni, and here they have freshly squeezed lemon juice. And the teas are from the brand Pickwick. I'm actually surprised, but we're not done yet. Here are some cereals, and there's a huge selection of cereals. Wow. And our kids love these the most. I think it's these ones. I like the cinnamon ones. So oatmeal, dried fruits, mustard, ketchup, and so on. We'll skip those. We've already been here. And this is the last counter. This is the hot counter. So I expect to find scrambled eggs, fried eggs, then sausages, wieners, grilled vegetables, and bacon here. Of course, sausages are a must, right? Every breakfast includes baked beans in tomato sauce. We've got hard-boiled eggs, and we'll finish it off with tomatoes. So that's everything. I think we've gone through absolutely everything here. And here I have my first plate. I focused on products they make themselves here. And that also relates to the selection of sweet pastries. It would be a shame to have a croissant here when they have crumb cake and such a beautiful curd cheese kolak. I'll grab some more pastry, and my ride leaves in about an hour and a half from now. And that's something that really annoys me about public transport. Always having to figure out when and where I need to be. There is no freedom and absolutely no flexibility in traveling. So let's start with this kolak right here. I'm really looking forward to it. It smells nice. The dough is just the right thickness. There's plenty of quark. It's really good. How about the coffee? Please note, I got the right size. Well, it's not bad. It's not amazing, but it's more on the good side than the bad. For something sweet, there was this crumb cake. It definitely won't be dry. This one is fantastic. These are the kinds of things I really, really like. And now we have the savory plate. Out of everything, I'm most looking forward to this ham mousse. Ham mousse is something I like, and it reminds me of my childhood. Besides the ham flavor, I can also taste quark, and I think there's butter in it too. Next is the egg spread. It's very runny, really quite runny. It smells nice. It's not bad, but I've had better. Of course, I've had worse too. And then we've got the pasta salad here. I don't think I've ever had a pasta salad that I genuinely liked. But I have to say, at least this one has some flavor. But it's still a pasta salad, so obviously it's not any kind of culinary experience. I still haven't tried the juice. So can someone please explain this to me? Someone who works in the field, in gastronomy, in hotels, in hospitality? How is this even possible? There's pulp in the juice, so it really gives the impression that you're getting something fresh, like it's freshly squeezed or something like that. Look, the pulp is really in there. But the taste is just watery, it's diluted. I just don't get this combination. I understand if I get some kind of chemical powder dissolved in water that it tastes a certain way. But how is it that I just get? I don't know. Please let me know in the comments, thank you. Since the orange disappointed me like that, let's try some other juices. Here we have apple, here blueberry, and now the classic débarrasse, or cleaning the dishes. They'll clear away everything that was here, but they won't set the table again for you. So if I didn't have a free spot across from me where I could get cutlery, I wouldn't have anything to eat with. Very few places do this well. Pohlreich, next door, Imperial Grand Hotel, Pub Four Seasons. If I'm not mistaken, also the Royal Hotel in Luxembourg. And that's all out of the roughly 200 hotels I've been to that do it well. Maybe also Croce di Malta. And I apologize if I've left out any hotel that does it right. But honestly, they're really more the exception. Yeah, I've got a little pancake here, and I have it so we can taste their jams. So this should be the strawberry jam. The strawberry jam is kind of runny. I don't see any pieces of strawberry in it. Not only is the jam nothing special, but the pancake itself isn't very good either. It's kind of like eating monitan. And then there was this forest fruit mix, or rather, jam forest fruit, berries from the woods. Unlike the strawberry one, at least this particular product has some discernible flavor. But I don't really taste the actual fruit. I genuinely taste more fruit in a glass of apple juice or even apple cider. It's not very good, but it's better than the orange one. That one was really watered down. And the blueberry, water with syrup. I have mixed feelings about that breakfast. Some things were really good, but other items totally ruined it for them. And that's a shame, in my opinion. My train leaves in exactly an hour and 10 minutes, and it takes 10 minutes to get to the station. I'm already packed, I've had breakfast, and ideally, I would head out right now. My friends who use public transport, and you wouldn't believe how many successful and relatively wealthy people regularly take public transport. I just don't get it. They tell me that thanks to these waits, these empty half hours and hours, they get to discover places they otherwise wouldn't, places they simply wouldn't think to visit in a given city, for example. With all due respect, I don't share this opinion. If I want to see something, I want to see it because I want to, not because I have to wait. Not because my train leaves in an hour and 7 minutes. What do you think? I think I'd be much happier right now if I were already sitting in my car, speeding down the highway toward my family. I have to admit, I'm tired of this waiting for Godot here in the room. So let's go wait at the station. I'm here and my train leaves in exactly 22 minutes. Let's quickly take a look at what the Ostrava main train station looks like. Like a train station. There's a bakery here, tickets are sold over there, and here are Ostrava souvenirs. A newsstand, another bakery, and another newsstand, and also a grocery store. A regional capital, one of the biggest cities in the Czech Republic, I would have expected a bigger station. Did I miss something? Or is that all? Maybe there's a cafe up here, a waiting room over there, and here a pigeon who, judging by everything around him, is clearly not here for the first time. The train is on time so far, which is good, because it's Friday. I've been filming for several days now, and I haven't been home for a few nights, so it would be nice to get home at a reasonable hour. So I hope it stays on time. For those of you who don't travel by train, I'll mention that on the Czech Railways website, you can look up your connection and see where it is and whether it's on time. And I can already see the platform here, platform number 2 here in Ostrava, so I'm in the right place. I'm thinking about where to stand. I have card number 352, which is right here. I see there's a bistro car. It says it's running until further notice. And next to it, there's a dining car, which says it's running until announced. I don't really understand that, but for us, it looks like there will only be a bistro car. It looked promising. Now we have a 4-minute delay. If it stays at 4 minutes, that's good. And our train is already here. In the end, the delay wasn't even the announced 4 minutes, but at most 3. And I think that's a pretty good result. Let's get on board and, most importantly, find my seat. I'm not going to be afraid here. First class is completely empty. That's good. That's good. It's easier to film that way. The train started moving. And since I don't travel this route often, I always get this weird feeling that I'm on the wrong train, like instead of heading to Pardubis, I'm suddenly going to Žilina or Warsaw. Who knows? But apparently I'm on the right one. Just now, a stewardess came by and gave me a menu, telling me to pick something good to eat. It's a shame we didn't travel a day earlier, because the lady said they've had a new menu since yesterday. That means what we tasted yesterday was already from the new menu. But if we had traveled a day earlier, we could have had the old menu on one leg of the trip and the new menu on today's journey. Which of course means that we'll actually see exactly the same thing here as we did yesterday. English breakfast, city breakfast, lower breakfast, toasted bread, a chunk of pork shoulder for 289 crowns. And just like yesterday, candle roast for 209, fried chicken schnitzel for 209, and veal roast with colorful pepper for 209, which definitely isn't new, because I already had it here about 2 years ago on my way to Berlin. Seasonal menu, we can try the broth. Although I have a reserved seat, I'm not sitting in my assigned spot, but actually in a seat that's part of the bistro car. And it's kind of part of first class, but the dining section, and the lady said that given how full the train is, I can sit wherever I want, and that here it will be more comfortable for me, and it will be closer for them when they bring me food. I've already ordered. I like the train's interior. It feels modern, clean, and comfortable. Wide seats, plenty of legroom. As for the price, compared to yesterday's Pendolino, I'm paying 100 crowns less here. On the other hand, unlike yesterday's ride, I didn't choose my seat here and just kept the one that was assigned to me, which would exactly account for that 100 crown difference. That means, if I understand it correctly, this Eurocity train costs the same or about the same as the Pendolino. I've already got my soup here, a broth with dumplings, noodles, and some vegetables. It looks nice. It smells wonderful, which is a typical quality of broths. Broths usually smell great. I'm looking at the travel time and I'm completely baffled. This Eurocity train covers the journey from Ostrava to Pardubis in about 2 hours and 20 minutes. And yesterday's Pendolino did the route from Pardubis to Ostrava in about 2 hours and 20 minutes, give or take 5 minutes, right? I thought the Pendolino was much faster, but it's actually very similar. So for me, and I have very little experience with Czech trains. It's basically the same whether you take the Eurocity or the Pendolino. Price, speed, comfort. Like I said, I'm only comparing these two trains that I just took. Looks like we're rocking a bit here. I'll try to eat the soup. Wow, these are excellent liver dumplings. Yeah, it's a bit bumpy, but the dumplings are great, so I definitely recommend them. The stewardess recommended this pink grapefruit drink to me. Honestly, the taste is a bit too artificial for me. Whoa. It's really rocking! So this is where the Pendolino has an advantage at 160 kilometers per hour, which is what we're doing right now. Thanks to the tilting body, your soup doesn't slide off the table. Wow, but it's really wild, the difference between the Pendolino and this train. See, we've already discovered the main advantage of the Pendolino, the tilting body. Whenever I go to Ostrava, or even just mention Ostrava, a lot of people write to me things like, with that accent, you can't go there, they'll kill you, and so on. You know what? That's absolute nonsense. People really don't care what kind of accent you have, as long as you behave politely. I've been to Ostrava several times in recent years, and I've never encountered any hint of unpleasant behavior or anything like that. I never understand where these stereotypes come from. Maybe people go there already expecting that the locals will be unpleasant to them just because they're from Prague, and supposedly they're really unpleasant to Ostrava locals. Well, then of course the feedback is what it is, but I've never experienced anyone looking down on me like that. And I dare say that I put a vibe in front of almost every word v okno, Vova, Vlak, and even Ostrava. And even for that, I've never gotten in trouble. Well, maybe someone gave me a weird look, that's true. We stopped in a field, and now I have my second breakfast of the day in front of me, which is a toast. It's a breakfast toast for 119 crowns with crispy bacon, Emmental-type cheese, cheddar, tomato, a vegetable garnish, and apparently they make it fresh right here on board. Now, do you understand why I had such a small breakfast at the hotel? I had to save some room for the train. Hey, it looks good. The bacon looks like it's really cooked. There's tomato in there. There are the cheeses. The cheeses are really aromatic. Let's dig in. That's actually not a bad combination at all. Hey, that's good. It's really good. Cheddar, Emmental, tomato grate, plus the taste of the bacon. Yeah. Just like there are rules for different categories of hotels, there are also rules for different types of trains. Let's take a look at what a train has to meet in order to be designated as an EC Eurocity. So first of all, it has to be an international train, which is the case here. This train, number 116, goes from Warsaw to Prague. Wow, that's quite a distance, isn't it? It must have a dining car. However, if the route is shorter than 500 kilometers, a bistro car is sufficient. The train set must include both first and second class cars, and they must be air conditioned. I found a note about this saying that in the Czech Republic and Slovakia, this is usually fulfilled. But, for example, in Southeastern Europe, not so much. The staff should speak multiple languages, and the average speed of these EC trains should not be lower than 90 kilometers per hour. And then there's the toilet. It should be a vacuum toilet. So none of that business of just going straight onto the tracks, that's not allowed. I discreetly peeked into the kitchen, and honestly, they actually make the eggs fresh there, like they just scramble them right in the pan. That's awesome. Pardubice, the hometown of steak, and also a city where the parking situation at the train station is really poorly handled. So now I have a little walk ahead of me, and after about 10 minutes of walking, I'm here at the Pohlreich shopping center. I left my car here, specifically in the underground parking garage, and so that it wouldn't just be sitting here doing absolutely nothing at all, I had it thoroughly washed in the meantime. That's not my Tesla, that's not my car. Here it is, right here. Hey girl, how have you been? Good? To be honest, I'm not really into car care. I often don't even find the time to take the car to the car wash. I know. So when I take public transport and have the chance, I take advantage of it. And if the car is just sitting there, I get it washed right away, because otherwise I'd never get around to it. Friends, the video is over. Thank you so much for watching. This time public transport didn't turn out bad at all, did it? Ostrava was good too, the hotel wasn't bad. And the burgers were absolutely fantastic, or rather, the burger and the hot dog. Thank you for your support. Have a great day. That was your Mr. Baldy. Bye.